Emotional intelligence. You've heard the term a million times, right? But what does it actually mean? And maybe more importantly, how in the world do scientists even measure it? Well, today we're going to cut through all that confusion. We're diving into a major scientific review to get some real solid answers.
All right, so let's just tackle the big question head on. What is emotional intelligence, really? Because it kind of feels like everyone has their own definition, and honestly, that's exactly where all the confusion starts. And you know what? That's not just a feeling, it's a fact. The researchers who wrote this review found more than 30 different scientific tests for EI being used right now. 30! So yeah, if you've ever felt a little lost trying to figure this all out, you're definitely not alone. It's a complicated landscape, for sure. But here's the good news. There's a way to crack this code. The key to making sense of all these different tests, well, it really just boils down to one simple but super powerful distinction. Once you get this one thing, I promise the whole world of EI measurement becomes a whole lot clearer. Okay, so the first big category is called ability EI. The easiest way to think about this is like an IQ test, but for your emotions. It's all about measuring your maximum performance, what you can do when you're really trying your best. It's like a test with right and wrong answers, where you have to solve specific problems related to emotions. And then we have the second category, trait EI. Now this is a totally different ballgame. It's designed to measure your typical performance. See the difference? It's not about what you can do, it's about what you usually do, day in and day out. This is more like a personality quiz, where you report on your own habits and tendencies. So let's just put it all side by side to make it crystal clear. Ability EI, that's your final exam score, your maximum potential. Trait EI, that's your daily habits, your typical behavior. One has right and wrong answers, the other is all about self-perception. So really, the big question becomes, are we trying to measure someone's peak potential or their everyday reality? Okay, and there's actually a third category you should know about. It's called mixed model EI. You can think of these as a kind of hybrid. They're usually self-report, a lot like trait EI, but they also pull in a bunch of other stuff like social skills and other practical abilities. You see these a lot in the workplace because they focus on skills you can actually train and get better at. All right, so now we have our three buckets: ability, trait, and mixed models. With that framework in mind, let's take a look at some of the most famous EI tests out there and see exactly where they fit. It's time to meet the key players. First up, let's look at the ability EI tests, the ones that measure your maximum performance. The big one you'll hear about is the MSCEIT, which stands for the Mayer-Salovey-Caruso Emotional Intelligence Test. Others, like the STEM and STU, are similar. They give you specific emotional situations, and you have to figure out the best way to handle them. Next, we've got the trait EI tests. Remember, these are the ones focused on your typical everyday behaviors. Two of the heavy hitters here are the SRIT test, that's the self-report emotional intelligence test, and the TEIQue, which is the Trait Emotional Intelligence Questionnaire. Both of these rely on you telling them about your own emotional habits. And rounding things out, we have the mixed model tests. And hey, if you've ever done an EI assessment for work, chances are it was one of these. You got the EQI, the Bar on Emotional Quotient Inventory, and the ESCI, the Emotional and Social Competence Inventory. Both are really popular for measuring those skills that are super relevant in a professional setting. Okay, so we've got all these tests, and we've put them into these three neat categories. But let's be real, if you're not a psychologist, where on earth are you supposed to start? What do the actual experts who wrote this massive review recommend for the average person? And here's the answer. Honestly, this might be the single most important takeaway from this whole thing. The experts, and I'm quoting them directly here, say they strongly recommend researchers and practitioners begin with a trait-based measure of EI. So there you have it. Their number one recommendation? Start with one of those self-report style tests. But why? Why start there? Well, the researchers point to a few really solid reasons. For one, these trait EI measures tend to be really reliable and valid from a scientific standpoint. There's also less debate in the academic world about what they're actually measuring. And maybe most importantly, they're really good at predicting real-world stuff, like how happy you'll be at your job or how well you'll cope with stress. Okay, that's great in theory, but how do you actually put this into practice? Let's get down to brass tacks and build a little toolkit so you can pick the right test for whatever specific part of EI you're interested in. So take a look at this. This table breaks it all down really nicely. You can see the 4 big components of EI: perceiving emotions, regulating your own emotions, helping regulate other people's emotions, and finally, using emotions effectively. And for each one, the review points out the best commercial test you can buy and the best free one you can use for research.
Now, you might notice something really interesting in that best free column. One test keeps popping up for all 4 areas: the SRIT, the Self-Report Emotional Intelligence Test. The review really highlights this one as a fantastic all-around starting point, especially since it's free to use for research.
So let's just recap. We started with this super confusing field of more than 30 different tests, and now we have a simple framework, a clear recommendation from the experts, and even a practical toolkit. We've really pulled back the curtain on how emotional intelligence is measured. So the last question isn't about the tests anymore, it's about you. Now that you know how it's all measured, how are you going to apply it?